I give my submission.
Ashley.
Oh, hey, I don't have much to say because I wish Ruto would have kept his promise on the things that he said he would do. He said that he would itakuwa bottom up. You look after the hustler, and now they're telling us it will take 2 years. And I feel like they can do more now if he asks his people, the leaders, to tighten their belts so that they can take some of what they have and give to the people at the bottom that are currently struggling. Like when he went to this discussion with the African AU, he was saying that he solved the issue. I think there's some issue they were solving of a certain country, and they did not go to the Western world to borrow money. They used money from Kenya. So Kenya does have money. And he was saying we as Africans should use our money. And he was saying it's possible, it's doable. So yeah, it is doable. What I'm feeling is that he doesn't feel the emergence or the need or that heavy weight that some parents are not able to take their children to school or even provide the food, and he's not addressing those issues. Those seem minor to him, and to those parents he's saying to tighten their belts, and then he's doing bigger things that, like when going to another country to provide aid, Kenyan aid, well, people in our own countries are suffering. I think the priority should be the people in the country, especially when it comes to basic needs. I feel in that area, he is out of touch. So I wish he tried to keep to his promise as much as possible, to where we see that he's trying. We don't see that he's trying. And that is why some people are joining the maandamanos, not because they are on that side, but because they feel like they were lied to. And then when they get there, they start telling us, oh, it will take time, but then they have money to buy cars. Well, they can stay with the old cars. They have money to open offices for their spouses. They have money to go on these trips when they can cut those trips to a minimum, to where need be, and stuff like that. So that's open to debate, but perception is very important. So I know I talk for a particular demographic who see the things that the way they are running as from my point of view. Also on the terms of security, I feel the little man is not protected in Kenya. It is hard for a normal person to access security or police when they need them. When you have an issue, when you go to the police station, they tell you to pay to fuel their cars. Well, they are paid tax money. Those cars are supposed to have fuel. It is not the work of the citizen to put gas or petrol in the vehicles of the police in order for the police to come and serve you. Ikisema ni utumishi kwa wote, the government should fuel their cars. And if the police are asking for money to fuel the cars, the government should ask people to report those police stations and those encounters they have with the police, where the police are forcing them to give them money in order for them to come and address their issues. Because that means if you have no money, then you are left there without being addressed. So there are so many things, that small things that can be done, and they are not being done. So that bottom up was just, now there is no longer, that song is gone. Now it is, they are addressing positions. Now we want to put the 2/3 gender rule. We want to give money to Uhuru, who can wait. We want to give money to political parties who can wait, while we make sure that all kids who want to go to school are back to school. So anyway, on what you guys were talking about them saying, again, I like to talk, me, I'm not on Uhuru's side. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
It says, thank you for watching. Is it gone? Is it, it's still live? Okay, when I think even Azimio is not sincere. And I know earlier on you were talking about how people say that Raila controls half the country. He does not control half the country. He controls half the electorate that went to vote. Because we know that 8 million people, registered voters, did not go to vote. So if we divide by 1/3, he controls 1/3, and Ruto controls 1/3, and then 1/3 did not go to vote. So that is the silent majority, and that's where I belong. And sometimes I look like I'm on one side or on the other side, but me, I'm more for the people and what services we can get. We can't be perfect, but we can try to where we are not desperate. Like in this situation we are seeing in the massacre. If the police were quick to serve the people, even though there were deaths, there wouldn't be this many. The ball was dropped on so many levels and is still being dropped today. If the families of the victims are coming online to ask for funds so that they can travel there, that is something the government should have already decided to do. And in one of the interviews, I heard them say that even the leaders in those regions have not visited the place, nor have they offered help. So even though they dropped the ball, they haven't tried to help now. That's the last time I heard. I don't know whether now they are helping, but I think the government should have stepped in full force to make sure they bring all the resources and make sure that every family that is missing a loved one has some sort of way to go to their governors or to their MCA, be able to be funded to go and look for their people, that some of them will not go because they don't have money, or they have to come online to ask in a country that there is government, in a country where the government has failed them. I think they need to be taken care of by the government. So the last point is, when we talk about that RUTO is taking us to the dark days, that is dishonest. Because I was looking online and I saw that on February 25th, 2022, Jubilee signed cooperation agreements with various political parties ahead of the National Delegation Convention meeting, the NDC. And they signed this agreement in order to make Jubilee strong so that they could make sure that Raila was going to be president. Now, PAA party patron Amason Kingi signed a pact with Jubilee in his quest to bring the Coast region to the national political bargaining table. Other parties that signed the agreement included PNU, UPA, UPIA, and KUP. These are the parties that now have defected to the other side. So if you say that RUTO is taking us back to the dark days, how comes Raila did not speak when Uhuru was signing these people to his party? Because even he was trying to to take us back to the dark days. So I wish there was more honesty in our party, so it doesn't hold water. And I can see if Amason Kingi's reason for signing was I think he said he wanted to make sure that the coast addressed the land issue. So when the government of RUTO came in, no wonder he changed sides, because he still wants to be able to address the land issue. Then the other thing you guys talked about is the election. My personal opinion is that both sides cheated. And because, like Babu Owino said, that the four were put there, walisema tukaambiwa tulete waine. So as Azimio, waliambiwa walete waine. So there already it's cheating, because those four people were supposed to come and favor them, because walitaka kutoa Chebukati, but they were assured that Chebukati was okay. All they needed to do is to bring 4 IEBC officials. So already we know that the 4 were partisan. And that is from the testimony of Babu Owino. And there's a clip that supports that. I like to try and base my opinion most of the time on what I have watched, and was something I can say, this is where I'm getting that information from. So according to me, the 4 were partisan. And for that reason, they actually need to stay very far away from IEBC, because we need to try as much as possible to put people who are non-partisan in those seats. The other thing is that in order for an election, remember in 2017, they ruled in court that the election is not a one-day event, it is a process. So when we look at this election, it wasn't free and fair. And why do I say it wasn't free and fair? Because 1, there was lack of electoral balance and equality. There was lack of adherence to the rule of law. There was an arbitrary ban of candidates and also disqualification of opposition candidates. Remember, some people are refused to vie for no reason for the presidency. There was electoral campaign marked by widespread use of state funds. We know Azimio was largely funded by the government. And that's one of the rules, that you're not supposed to be funded by the government. We also know there was disproportionate amount of favorable coverage of Azimio in the media channels, which is also against the provisions, the adherence to the election laws. So when they say that the election was stolen from them, they also committed some election crimes. So, you know, the rule of equity. You can't come to the table to ask for justice when you also are guilty. So in this case, I think they should just learn from it and then work on making 2027 be successful. Right now, we don't need to be saying that we need to go back, because even like, I don't know whether Kenya has the statute of limitation. The statute of limitation of disputing the election has passed for a reason. Because if we did this, then when will we ever run the country? At this point, even let's assume it is true that the election was stolen. Already, RUTO has been chosen. Is it really in the public interest, or even in the public interest and even in the security of the country at this time to look into that? It is not. It is not. So what we can do is learn from this, sit down and work on how we are going to make sure that 2027 will be more verifiable, will be more free, and will be more fair. That is my conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley, for a good submission. Mzalendo, before I make my submission, are you there, Mzalendo?
Yes, I'm very much around, and I would like you to be very brief so that we can.
Yes, I will. I will be very brief. I was when you were, because we have been in this show for some time now, and I've been listening to your submission as well as the submissions of other people. And you are someone who comes from Nyanza, and from independence until now. Allow me to become a little bit personal, but I don't have like a strong feeling. At what point did you start now thinking differently? Because I can tell your way of thinking is totally different from people who come from the same place. In a way that I see a lot of independence of mind. You don't just say what leaders of the region are saying. You are able to say different things basing on how you see them. What does it take for somebody to reach to that level? Because there was a time also, I believe, maybe in Central, people used to think just like their leaders. Whatever they say, it's what we are saying, whether it is right or wrong. What does it take? You know, I'm just trying to get how you have reached there.
Interrogate the mind. Let me tell you, Jeff, I've been in politics. I have worked with these leaders very, very closely. And I am somebody who, just like my name is Zalendo, I am somebody who thinks about my country and the future of my children and the kind of country that I want for my children, and the kind of governance that I want. I have also traveled enough to have a cautious that there is a way you can copy from where you are and export it to Africa or back to your country. So living abroad helps you with the cautious and helps you to understand things in a better way than when you are back at home. So this exposure has also helped a lot. But let me get to you let me talk to you directly and tell you, there is a psychophancy level that happens in politics, whereby you look at the person, not even the ideologies that he has, but you look at the person and the tribe, that this is one of my own, I need to support them. That part aspect in politics. Then there is also this other aspect that, I like this man, I like his vision, I know what he stands for in a country. Raila Odinga lost my support when he joined hands with Uhuru Kenyatta. For me, I felt that as a betrayal, and he nailed it when he also joined hands with Martha Karua. I also felt that is a very, very big betrayal on my part, because this is not what he stood for in 2007. And in 2007, the person who really betrayed Raila and relegated him to where he is right now is the one who is his deputy and or running mate. So it is a circus. It's like the game of musical chairs. All right. So in politics, you have to have a stand, and you realize that there are many of us out there who have differed because of Raila's principles and ways of leadership. When we are interrogated, or you see people commenting, they tell you, oh, huyo mzalendo alinyimwa tikiti na chama, things like that. That is what they can always talk about. But they don't talk about the consistency of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga, that I knew, was one that was very, very transparent. Raila Odinga, that I knew, was one that was very, very democratic. Raila Odinga, that I knew, was one that would not tolerate anybody who is corrupt in his camp. Raila Odinga, that I knew, fought for devolution and brought devolution to the Republic of Kenya. Yet he did not interrogate his own constituency, meaning Siaya, Homa Bay. Those are the immediate constituency that I think he holds dear. Yeah, what they are doing with the money that he brought for them at grassroots, So he didn't do what we call due diligence in whatever that he stands for. So had the people of Nyanza been industrialized more than each and every a county, let me tell you today, Kikuyus will be voting and begging Raila to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. But they look at Luo Nyanza and they call Raila the Lord of Poverty. But Jeff, let me tell you today on this show, the poorest Luo man in Luo Nyanza, in my village, is richer than a Kikuyu in your village. The poorest Luo is richer than the poorest Kikuyu man in your village. Why do I tell you that? Because the poorest Luo man in my village has got at least 2 acres of land, or 3, or even 5, that lies idle there. And some of them do not even have title deeds. So these people have not been empowered to utilize even the little resources that they have, that can elevate them to another level. This does not require the presidency. This only requires good leaders who can advise and see that when Uhuru Kenyatta comes to Luo Nyanza, let him give us title deeds the way he gives them in Lamu, or dishes them somewhere in Kilifi or Taita Taveta, so that the level of poverty can be lifted. We come from a lake region where you wake up in the morning, wake up in the morning or in the evening, go to the lake, come back in the morning with some fish, yeah, and you have made some money. We are not talking as leaders in those regions.
You know, yesterday I made the same statement. I was almost crucified.
Oh, you made the same. You see, we in those areas, you sadly to say, now that we have built a social capital, I'll take you to visit those areas, and you see the the beaches that we have in the lake region. That is the next tourist destination. You can never have a place so beautiful like what we have in Mufangano Islands, where we come from. Those islands are so beautiful, surrounded by freshwater lake. You know, the activities that can be around that lake can bring a lot of business to the locals. There are hotels right now in where I come from, and some of them have been bought by Somalis. Very soon, Luo Nyanza will be a tourist destination competing with Mombasa. That is if we put our heads together and we have the right vision and, the right projection. So,
But Mzalendo, do you know? Okay, I agree with you, and allow me just interject just for a minute, because I have visited. I visited Kisumu and I stayed there for some time, and I visited around that area, and I saw the great potential that that city has. Actually, I had the feeling that Kisumu is supposed even to become the capital city of Kenya because of the ocean, you know. Is very beautiful. And I thought to myself, the reason why this place is not developing is just only one, the fear that investors have, that if I invest my business here, then we have political conflicts, my business will go down. If only, and this is the only thing that will cause the Nyanza to develop, is for people to maintain peace at whatever cost. That the people of Nyanza should prove. Now, you know, the precedence or the picture has already been painted out there that Nyanza people are violent. But now we need to start now changing that notion so that people can start now building the confidence to bring their businesses back to Nyanza, and new businesses, international investors. And that is what I was saying, Zarendo. And I totally don't have any personal difference with that. One, Raila Odinga. I know him as somebody who is well connected. And that if today he wants to build that place, he will do it. International community can even give donations. You know, he can work with the governors, bring development. He can even have the initiative where people will be, people will be informed and educated on what they have. You know, all those things, when I saw how that place is beautiful and the potential that is lying there, and people are not coming in large number to invest in that. You know, Kisumu can be beautiful than Mombasa. Very beautiful. The only thing now we need there is to have now modern structures, modern hotels coming there, and everybody will be coming there, because already we have that side of place has a great name, having the president of America, the father came from that side. Everybody want to come and see where Obama came from. So already Kisumu and Nyanza region has potential to grow. But what are the leaders doing to tap that potential? Nobody should be unemployed in Kisumu. Have they set the factories to process these fish that we get? Do they even have coolers that the fish don't get rotten? Are they, all those things that are supposed to be done, the leaders are supposed to come together and work together. And you see Kisumu and Nyanza change within 1 year. Everything will be different. That is how I was feeling.
Now, Jeff, you're very,
Yes.
very right. But
Yes.
today I want to tell you the difference between leaders in Central and leaders in Nyanza. There's a difference between a ruler and a leader. Do you know the difference?
Help me.
A ruler is this kind of person who imposes orders. He orders his people. Yeah. A leader is somebody who leads his people to do better things. He gives them guidance, and he wants them to achieve and succeed in whatever they are doing. He unleashes the potential. But a ruler is somebody who gives order. A ruler is like a dictator. All right. So Raila has been a ruler. He's not a leader. He's a ruler. All right. So you need to differentiate between leadership and the guy who you are calling a leader and the guy who's called a ruler. Raila rules over his people. That is why he decides who becomes what in his own backyard. He decides who becomes what in his base called ODM. It is not upon the people to decide who they want as their leader. In Central, your leaders are chosen by what they have done in the community. If you look at Mwangi Wairia, he brought in the dairy farming and all that is why he was nicknamed that. He got that name.
Yes.
If you look at the
Governor Matangi.
the governor of Matangi, you see he brought those tanks to the women. They had seen some potential in leadership.
You also have Wairago Wamai.
Look at you see
it's because of water.
Because of water, we don't have those kind of leaders in Luo Nyanza. Yeah, we have rulers, we have leaders who have been imposed, and they rule over the people.
And that's what that now brings in a question that I was having, because I think it reaches a time, even in the Bible, when after the children of Israel stayed under the leadership of Pharaoh for several years. I think it was around, almost 400 years. They were under the leadership of Pharaoh. And it reached a time when God said, let my people go. If somebody has been in, this family has been in leadership for all these years from independence, don't you think now we need a Moses who will come and say, now, Raila ODINGA, let my people go? And we have different ideas, different new, fresh leaders to bring new ideas. You see, and I don't think it's a democratic right to choose how to be governed. But you see, like in Central Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta tried to contest as a member of parliament in Gatodo, where his father was an MP. And the first time when he contested, people rejected him. Now he had to be nominated by Moi. When he contested as a president, we didn't just say, this is the son of Kenyatta that we loved so much. He contested as a president. Still, people said, you are still too young. Wait. He was put in padding. So I think it is good and it is the right time for the people of Nyanza now to start thinking of, okay, all these years we have been having one leader. I think we need to change. That's just my thinking. I don't know how you think, but I strongly feel within me I don't know how it can be done, but I don't think it is evil if Raila says now it is also my time to let another person, if possible from another family, to come and take over.
You see, politics of influence, and that has always dominated Raila's kind of style of leadership in Nyanza, especially. I'll talk about Nyanza because there are other areas that Raila also influences, like the coast region, because they believe in what it stands for. So sometimes in Nyanza, it's a different ballgame. In coast, what it stands for is what is largely believed to influence some of the decisions that the Coastarians make. Now, on your point, whereby you are introducing Uhuru Kenyatta in politics, remember, Central Kenya have had leaders before. They have had Matiba, they have had Kibaki, they have had a cocktail of leaders. They have had Nyanga. They have had a cocktail of good leaders compared to Luo Nyanza. So you had a variety, and they were all from different political parties. Yeah. So you'd find for the Silly, you would find the DP, you would find which other one, NAC, you would find so many parties.
For the city, we had
For the Silly, yeah. You would not find that kind of cocktail in Luo Nyanza. Luo Nyanza, our politics is like the one for communist China, where we have one ruler who decides what becomes what, and you cannot go against that ruler. So it is more of communism in Luo Nyanza than democracy in Luo Nyanza. So those are the aspects that, as again, not really help Raila Odinga so much politically. If he had let democracy thrive, there are so many good leaders. Let me tell you, in Luo Nyanza, there are so many good leaders who are better than Raila by far. People who can steer development, but they are so afraid. Yeah, they are so afraid to come out. This is now, I answer that question whereby you are asking, why are you the one? Why have you come out to talk about the issues, and yet you don't see so many laws coming out? Most of them are afraid to talk. Yeah. They are afraid to talk because they are looking at political seats in future. Yeah, if I go against Baba, I will not get a seat in anywhere in Luo Nyanza. So that is the reason why they have failed. They are not talking. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking upon to that day when we will be having somebody like Professor Tom Ojienda. You know, I love that man. I have worked closely with Professor Tom Ojienda. If today he contests and he says, I want to become the president of Kenya, believe me not, my vote.
Now, you see, like Tom, people like Tom Ojienda, the reason why they are being fought so hard is because they are independent thinkers. They are independent thinkers. There are people who made it with an ODM ticket, but they were not the party's choice. Yeah. But they were the people's choice. There's a difference. The party did not want you, like in Jalango's case. The party probably did not want him, but the people of Langata chose him. That is the same way Tom Ojienda, the party did not want him, but they had no otherwise but to give him the ticket. Otherwise, they would have lost the seat. All right. So there are people like Tom Ojienda, but if you want to meet the bright Luos who are just seated there, One day, I want you to go onto your YouTube channel and watch somebody called Dalmas Otieno. Watch Dalmas Otieno, watch his debates, look at the brain, look at how sober that guy debates on his issues. Yeah. Look at, you go and there's an old man called Engineer Okundi. Engineer Philip Okundi, he did a lot of wonderful things while he was at KPA. Some of the infrastructure projects that you see at the coast, it was done by him while he was the MD. When he was at Posta, he did a lot to empower and employ the people. So these are some of the people who have elevated the community to another level. Now, the Luo ideology and philosophy is changing from time. There are people like me who have got a different ideology, and there are many of us who can influence the ideology, and that is what we are selling. It is not that we are fighting Baba. We are selling a different agenda because Baba will exit the scene. And if he exits the scene, there must be people who are ready to take up the leadership from him.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we are educating our people on leadership. We are trying as much as we can to empower those we can empower. We are also working, trying to get into government and work with the government and see if we can get development so that our people cannot be influenced or coerced by leaders to do certain things. You know, it is so easy for a youth without anything in his pocket to take a stone or a panga to demonstrate for you. But the one that has got some money in their pocket, they will have a shop to open. They will not have time to go to the streets to demonstrate. So the issue of the Luo poverty is what we are fighting, because we have education and we have enough resources, and in terms of land, we have, in terms of labor, we also have enough labor. The only thing that we lack is leadership, and we are working towards that.
Wow. Let me just make a brief submission, just very brief. Then I think we're gonna end the show.
Yeah, we are closing. Yes.
Yeah, we close the show. I just want to urge all Kenyans to give support to the government, because for sure we already have the government, and we are not expecting to have another government or elections soon. So the best thing we can do for our country is to maintain peace and support the president and his team and everybody else who is prepared to work together with the president. Because we know very well that RUTO is a performer. The reason I'm saying this is because we have seen what he has done before. During the time when he was the Minister of Agriculture, that was the time we had the greatest yield or harvest in Kenya than in any other time. And it is there you can go do your research. He subsidized fertilizer, and we had the best harvest in Kenya during Kibaki's time. And that frightened so many political leaders to the point of fighting him so hard. But he had performed excellently well, and he was put there. He was ranked as the best performing minister. When he was put in the docket of the higher education, Mzalendo, I don't know whether you know or you remember that when you finish Form 4, the candidates, after they finish Form 4, they used to wait for 1 year before joining university.
I know that. That RUTO is the one who changed that.
You can imagine students used to waste in Kenya from independence. 1 year, imagine 1 year, millions and millions of citizens wasting 1 year, year in, year out.
Placement.
When Ruto was given the docket of high education, he fixed that problem. Today, students finish Form 4 and they join university the following year without wastage of time. Those are tremendous performance. And basing on that, what I'm saying, why can't we give the president time to see what he can do? I know as Kenyans, we had very high expectation, and still we have high expectation, but I believe that given time, this president we have will perform. He is not known to be a failure. He has never even failed in school. He has been performing with excellence. This president we have, he has never even failed in any political position that he has ever fired. From the time he was vying to be a member of parliament up to now, Ruto has never lost. Why do you think right now he will not be in a position to fix the country? And I want to say this. We know very well that, yes, Uhuru has money. And Raila, we also know you have good money. And you can decide to sabotage the government because of the wealth that you have. And we respect you as our former leaders. But you have to accept, right now we have a government. Ruto had many supporters. When Raila ODINGA was the Prime Minister of Kenya, even when he was fired by Raila ODINGA, Ruto never retaliated. He never called his supporters to go and sabotage the government, to go and disorganize the government. He waited to fight another day. Actually, he told Raila ODINGA, let us meet on the ballot. When Ruto decided to intimidate and degrade his deputy, remember the deputy had his supporters. He never called them to go sabotage the government, fight the government, disorganize the government, cause chaos so that Kenya becomes ungovernable. He decided, I will wait and I will give the president all the support that he needs from me for him to finish his term. That is the kind of the president that we have. Someone who is gentle enough to let others govern. But the same people he supported, Ruto fought so hard for Raila ODINGA to become the prime minister. Actually, he wanted Raila ODINGA to become the president. He fought so hard for Uhuru to become the president. It is only fair, and it can only be fair if Raila and Ruto decides to support the president for him also to govern without disturbance. That is the best gift they can give to the nation. Mzalendo, there is no nation that you ever develop or grow without peace. Let all Kenyans maintain peace, knowing very well that even if there will be a handshake between William Ruto and Raila ODINGA, we as the people, we are not going to benefit so much because they have teamed up. Our lives will still be the same because we have seen it before. So please don't go out there and die for no good reason, because these leaders, they are still friends. So I don't want to proceed. I don't want to talk so many things. Let us maintain peace as a nation of Kenya, and let us respect the government that we have, because that is how it should be. And that is what other people in other nations do. We recognize the government that is there. If there is a dispute, solve it in the court. If there is any other thing you want to do it in a peaceful way so that our nation may move on without disruptions. Thank you so much. God bless you. God do you good. Mzalendo, maybe you can close the show.
Yes, thank you so much, Banambur. I want to thank those who have been listening to us. In the comment section, I see James Omondi, Joy Onaka. I see Engineer Jacob. I see Fellow Mutua. Velo bana, hii media si ya shetani. We only talk about the reality of of life. I see hey, this guy called James Omondi. You are not a Luo. You don't know anything. Omera, I am a Luo Omera. Angeo gimora mora. Kikibuoga. We are unabogable. Uh, Patrica, I see Mr. Escotrica, Kevin, James, who has been there before, and everybody else. I will not be able to mention or acknowledge everybody who has been on this show. San Wasonga, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us on this show. This is a show whereby we discuss the issues that are affecting our country. We thank you very, very, very much for staying late. We have done almost 10 hours.
Hey, and Jalango, why am
On
I
this
not
show.
being asked to give a submission? You guys have really ignored.
I thought actually you were done because we gave you we were winding up. You were the first one to give a submission.
No, no. I talked very little, and you talked.
Oh,
So I've been
okay.
waiting for my chance. I've been quiet. I didn't want to complain, but I was like, this is. I've never been on a show this ignored.
No. When Boru we gave you the chance, we thought that you had submitted. But anyway, make it very, very brief because we are
Even
running
me,
late.
I'm here and I'm not being given a chance.
Oh, who is that? Who is on the background? I mean, we can't see you. Are you Jakes?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
me.
so Jakes, if you're back on the show, then you can take over. And I know Ashley has got so much to say. So
No.